That bad man, Aaron Rodgers, hasn't really been himself since 2014, telling NFL media, I'm just a little bit off. We've been a little bit off collectively. And his former teammate Greg Jennings is taking notice, telling FS1 on Monday, quote, "We've given Aaron passes every single year, and we've given him all the credit every single year. Personally, I feel like he got more credit than what he deserved when he had the receivers at his disposal to throw to. But right now, I'm putting the pressure on him because it's been on him when they've had success. When they don't have success, it's dispersed to everyone else. The media spinned it to where everything was always great with his play. There was always something wrong with the receiving end of the play if there was an issue. So I think it's almost handicapped him to where he's never really had to self-assess. He's never really had to self-reflect. Why? Because everyone has always projected the blame somewhere else. But now the focus is on him." Stephen A., it's your boy, Aaron Rodgers. Is Jennings right?
Well, it's my boy, Greg Jennings, too. But I'm ashamed of his words. And I'm ashamed of his words because it's one thing if he's talking about Aaron Rodgers, Max, right now. He's making a very, very good point right now. Aaron Rodgers is to blame for the demise of the Green Bay Packers right now. He looks like a shell of himself. He's being contained in the pocket. Everybody saw what Zimmer did with Minnesota, and they've copied that ever since. So when he went against the Giants and when he went against the Dallas Cowboys, they essentially emulated what Minnesota was doing. They prioritized keeping him contained within the pocket, making him throw under that duress and standing in the pocket, even though he can still be efficient. He's not as efficient as we normally are accustomed to seeing him be. That is fair enough. And I have no problem with that level of criticism projected by Greg Jennings because he is qualified. He played with Aaron Rodgers. He had several thousand-yard seasons playing with Aaron Rodgers. He won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. And the man knows what he's talking about. Greg Jennings is a very knowledgeable brother. He did some work right here for us with SportsCenter a few weeks ago. I thought he did an outstanding job. But I think that he went a bit too far when he started alluding to history as it pertains to Aaron Rodgers, talking about blame was projected on the receivers. Excuse me? As if that wasn't supposed to be the case. Did you watch Aaron Rodgers throw the football all of these years? I'm sure Greg Jennings did again. Several thousand-yard seasons playing with Aaron Rodgers, a Super Bowl championship with Aaron Rodgers. Now, Greg Jennings is sitting up there talking about this dude. This is an Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to just throw these numbers by y'all. Since 2009, 2008 was Aaron Rodgers' first year starting. He completed 63% of his passes, okay, and had a QBR of 60. 2009, 64.7%. 2010, 65.7%. 2011, 68.3, 67.2, 66.6, 65.6. This is what this brother has done. QBRs of 80 and 86 and 77 in his career. Quarterback ratings of 103, 101, 122, 108, 104, 112. What are you talking about? You're damn right it was the receiver's fault because clearly this brother was big time. He's on another level. His athleticism, his ability to throw on the run, his ability to throw in the pocket. Talk to me problematically about what Aaron Rodgers looks like right now with a hobbled Jordy Nelson, who clearly isn't 100%, with a Randall Cobb who's inexplicably absent on several occasions, the Richard Rodgers of the world, the Eddie Lacy's with the ankle injuries, having to trade for Niall Davis just so you can have a running back, and he's beyond third string in Kansas City, so suddenly he's supposed to come to the rescue in Green Bay. Good luck with that. I hope it happens. But Aaron Rodgers has been having to deal with some stuff, but he's also overthrown passes. He's underthrown passes. He hasn't looked for himself, like himself. I have no problem, Max, with Aaron Rodgers being called out for not being that bad man we know him to be now. But prior to Jordy Nelson getting hurt last year, don't talk to me about anything from Aaron Rodgers' past, especially if you're Greg Jennings, who in all fairness has a beef with the Green Bay Packers organization because he never wanted to leave. He was ticked off. That's why when he was on Minnesota playing for Leslie Frazier, the coach then, even he said, I have to talk to Greg Jennings because we don't do business that way. I understand you got some hard feelings about your former team, but you got to watch what you say because of some of the things that he said back then. I just think it's a little bit of bitterness right now. I can understand it, but it does not need to be aimed in the direction of Aaron Rodgers based on his performance from the past. This year, Max, yes. The past, absolutely not.
even this year, if you're top half dozen in the league in QBR, you know, to say, well, the Green Bay Packers' problems is because of Aaron Rodgers, you're saying, well, he needs to be the best quarterback in football, as he normally is, though not last year or this year so far, for them to be great. When he's just, you know, a top third quarterback in football, then there are all kinds of problems. That suggests that he's, in fact, not really the problem. But first, Greg Jennings, an excellent receiver in his prime. He's one of those guys where when you watch him, you're like, yeah, I know there are guys better than this, but, you know, he's one of those guys. Oh, my eyeballs are on this guy. It's hard to imagine you could be much better than that. He was really, really, really good. And he has a point. When you turn Aaron Rodgers into a pure pocket passer, just as the Broncos did against Cam Newton, if you were even to do that to Steve Young or any Hall of Fame quarterback, and some of these guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame too, you're turning them into some lesser version of themselves, because part of their greatness is that they are multifaceted. And if you take one of those components of their game away, they are some lesser version of themselves, even if they're good at pocket passing, which I think Aaron Rodgers normally is. This could be natural variance in his performance. It happens to all players in all sports. They're not every single year just as good as they were the year before. They will be the next year, even sometimes when they're in their primes. All that said, I don't think Greg Jennings is a credible source here. I think he has an axe to grind with Aaron Rodgers, and I think if it's not so much that he's not telling, well, it is that he's not telling the truth. It's not so much that he's not lying, it's that I think he's lied to himself, and so now he's selling that to everyone else because he actually has started to believe it. But it is not the truth. Look, Greg Jennings, when he played with Aaron Rodgers, averaged 3 yards more per catch than he did the rest of his career with any non-Aaron Rodgers quarterback. You know what that means? It means Aaron Rodgers is making Greg Jennings a better receiver. 3 yards more per catch playing with that guy than anyone else you played with. He made you better. The question is, did Jennings make Rodgers any better? And the answer is no. There is zero correlation between Aaron Rodgers' QBR and Greg Jennings being on the field with him. None. So Aaron Rodgers has made Greg Jennings, unquestionably made Greg Jennings, an excellent receiver, better. Although Jennings was never the receiver that Rodgers is the quarterback. But Jennings has not done the same for Rodgers. So that's just, those are the facts. Now, Greg Jennings is a guy whose sister was sending Twitter shots out at Aaron Rodgers in the past. You mentioned the reason. He didn't want, you know, there was a problem there, and he wound up on Minnesota. So this is not an honest broker when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. I'm not suggesting Jennings is sitting there twirling his mustache, you know, with the damsel on the train tracks. I'm gonna do something bad here. I'm gonna lie. I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying he has allowed his emotions about the Packers and about Rodgers to affect his thinking, because what he's saying is not right.
Well, listen, I don't believe it's right for him to critique the past. I don't think that it's wrong for him to critique this year. And I don't think that his credibility should come into question if he was talking about this year. The reason why this subject was compelling to me is because he had the gall to bring up the past. 2008, 1,292 yards. 2009, 1,113 yards. 2010, 1,265 yards. 2011, 949 yards in 13 games, which means he would have easily had at least another 1,100, 1,200 yard season had he played 3 additional games. That's 4 years of highly productive performances from Greg Jennings in a Green Bay Packers uniform with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, being a Super Bowl champion. So when he sits up there and says there were things that pointed in our direction as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, it's because we knew what we were watching. We saw an elite quarterback playing at a very elite level who we had us contemplating as to whether or not, as a talent, this may have been the greatest quarterback we had ever seen. And so for me, Greg Jennings using this year to hop on what transpired in the past and to rewrite history is where I have a problem with. But I have no problem with what he's saying about Aaron Rodgers, because I don't care about the QBR and all this other stuff. I know what I'm watching with Aaron Rodgers this year. This year, it's not the same.
He's not the same. Well, but if his point is, look, a quarterback gets all the credit when things go good, when it goes well. When it's not going well, he's supposed to get all the blame. And from where I'm sitting, I don't see Rodgers getting enough blame, that is a credible claim. People feel protective of a guy who they've seen been so great for so long.
But that's not what he said.
But that's the only legitimate point.
But which is what I said. But that's not what he said. And he was alluding to the past. And everybody wants to bring up Aaron Rodgers. You was getting ready to bring up last year, Molly.
Yeah. I know there's no Jordy.
I understand. But let me say this. There's no Jordy Nelson. That's your #1 weapon. Mike McCarthy wasn't calling plays. That was another problem. And then Randall Cobb and Richard Rodgers and those boys were not getting open. So and Eddie Lacy, no disrespect, he's fine now. He just has ankle injuries. Last year, it was well documented, he was fat and out of shape. So if you can't run the football because you're bloated and out of shape, it's just the truth. I mean, listen, I like Eddie Lacy.
You do have systems.
I like Eddie Lacy, but he was bloated. This is what they said. I know what I saw on TV, but I'm not even going there. This is what they said. He was bloated. He was fat. And as a result, he couldn't run. So if that is the truth, then if you are Aaron Rodgers, you can only do but so much as a quarterback. So I'm not even holding last year against him to that level. This year is different.
It's all been rectified now.
I've seen guys open this year. I've seen Aaron Rodgers miss them. He's underthrown. He's overthrown. He's been in the pocket. He hasn't been accurate, okay? He's tap dancing a little bit too much. I mean, I remember I used to say that about Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is doing that now. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. Greg Jennings talking about right now, that would have been totally different. He brought up the past. The past, Aaron Rodgers was a bad man. Period.
There's no question. There's no question Rodgers is not the same guy, and now it's going on a year and a half, and so there are legitimate questions to be asked about the future of his career. Is he declining? Which a lot of questions get asked around this age. Maybe he's got to get used to the fact that his body is aging, and he's got to adjust to that. Who knows? Whatever it is, we'll see if he can bounce back, because when Rodgers is right, he's clearly the best quarterback, and he's clearly the best player in football when he's right. I don't think there's really an argument. Molly, I know you like Tom Brady. People could argue Cam Newton last year, but Rodgers had fallen off.
For sure.
When Rodgers is right, Bill Belichick would trade Brady for the good version of Aaron Rodgers so fast it'd make your head spin.
I don't have time to debate that, because I do not agree with that one, Max Kellerman. But coming up,
I am here to represent the ladies, and I just want to give you guys my take on the Vontaze Burfict issue. I feel like he should be suspended. It is unacceptable to try to intentionally hurt someone. He is known for losing his composure, and that is the biggest problem.
Let's talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Jets, and let's just get it over with. He stinks. He's thrown 5 touchdowns for 11 interceptions in 6 games. That should have been it there.
Will Kane, when he came on the show talking about the Dallas Cowboys are top 3 teams in the NFL. Who have they played? They played the Giants and lost. Doesn't matter how they lost. They lost. They played the 49ers. They played the Bears, who ain't been good in years. Who's worried about the Bears?
yes, to the left.
I like her. I like her. The one that's just finished talking about Will Kane. That's my favorite thus far. I like her.
I also
anybody who bashes the Cowboys,
that's right.
You're gonna be all over that.
Hey, we're gonna roll with that.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
One of the lovely ladies addressed Vontaze Burfict, so I just wanted to let you know he was fined $75,000. He's appealing that fine. He will not be suspended. Meanwhile, the First Take, Your Take viewer contest is here. You just saw a few of our submissions already. You can win a chance to debate Stephen A. and Max right here on national television. This is what you need to do. You need to go to firsttakeyourtake.com. Upload a 1-minute video with your and only your best original sports debate. Keep it clean, plus no music, logos, trademarks, or copyrighted material. And the winners will be selected by our show staff and then get to come debate you.
There we go. Well, you know, they coming to debate Max. They're coming to get beat up by me. There's a difference. There's a difference. But I'll be nice about it. I would. Maybe Chris Baker will win.
If this is like a video game, if you beat Stephen A. on level 1, then you go up to level 2. You try and take a shot with me.
Oh, please.
Oh, it's like Glass Joe, huh? You're saying Stephen A. is Glass Joe.
No, he's better than Glass Joe.
He knows better. Yeah, you know what?
He's
that
better
is
than
true.
Glass Joe.
That
He's
is
like
true.
Kid Quick, and I'm like Sandman.
Molly said, let's be honest, they just want to meet her. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Well, that's the truth.
I agree that. I agree there.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.